new initiative which is raising awareness of the plight of the 129 hostages who are still being held in Gaza 75 days after the Hamas attacks on Israel. A bouquet of yellow flowers has become a new symbol of hope and resilience. Well, with me in the studio, Noa Reuveni, with her yellow bouquet, and you're part of this new initiative to kind of bring awareness to the horrible situation of the hostages and their families. And of course, this is personal for you. You've got two good friends who are still being held, Ziv and Gali. They're twin brothers. Tell us a bit about them, what happened.
So Ziv and Gali are 26-year-old twin brothers who live in Gaza. They've lived there their entire lives. I've known them from school, and Ziv has become the closest friend to me, the closest person to me. And on October 7th, they were both taken hostage, kidnapped from their homes, just innocent civilians. To this day, we don't know their whereabouts. We know they're kidnapped. We don't know their health situation. And we're very worried about them. We're worried about the fact that the Red Cross hasn't visited them, any of the hostages, or given them any medical care or any medicine at all. And this initiative is a huge part of raising awareness of the fact that there are still, to this day, 129 people, innocent civilians, being held hostage in Gaza, some of which are elderly, men, women, a baby as well, people who could be my grandparents, my brothers, my sisters. And it's been 75 days. I'll repeat that number because it is a shocking number, and it should shock everybody. 75 days that we don't know where our loved ones are and how they're doing and in what situation they are in. All we know is that they're held by a terrorist organization. And so this initiative of a bouquet of hope, of yellow flowers by the Kadar Foundation of Culture and Education by Dr. Avraham Kadar, is, you know, they've so generously donated these beautiful yellow flowers. That yellow symbolizes the symbol of the hostages and people kept in captivity, to raise this awareness and to keep this on the topic of the day, that there are still hostages there as we're speaking, and every single day, every single second, their time is running out. And it's not just a slogan, their time is running out. We've heard that from testimonies of people who came back from captivity. We know about somewhat of what their conditions are, and it's not good, to say the least. And this initiative is to remind us and to have some hope and to fight for them to come back to us, to bring every single one of those 129 people back home.
Are you worried people are forgetting about them?
Yeah, I'm 100% worried about it. I am feeling like they're starting to be forgotten now that a ceasefire isn't really on the table, and now that most of the children have been released and most of the women in Israel, it's still on the topic, but I'll say outside in the outdoors world, it's not. And we've started spreading outdoors. Last week, we also had this initiative, other than in Tel Aviv in the Hostage Square every single Friday from 10 to around 12. We also had it in New York and in Florida, and we're planning to continue and grow as much as we can so that people will remember. Every single Friday I come back home with a bouquet of yellow flowers, and every single week it stays on my table in my house, and they die. And then another week comes by, another Friday, and I come back home with another bouquet of flowers. And it's
like a symbol of hope for you.
It is a symbol of hope, because I do believe with all my heart we have hope. That's all we can really hold on to. And you know, I do believe that what we're doing and raising awareness, that's what can help to bring them back to us.
Right, and as you say, you know, some of the hostages thankfully are back with their families, and we've been hearing kind of more and more about the conditions they were held in. And aside from the, you know, the physical horrors, the lack of food, the physical violence, one theme that keeps, you know, you keep hearing is that one of the worst things was to think that you've been forgotten, that no one was trying to get you home.
Yeah.
That's something really heartbreaking to think about, isn't it?
100%, and I always try to put myself in their shoes as much as I can, and I would want to know that my country and my family and friends are doing everything in their power to bring me back, which is what Gali and Ziv's family is doing, and all of the amazing families of the Forum of the Hostages and Missing. That's what they're doing. Their lives have stopped. That's all they're doing, is trying to bring their loved ones back. Other than the amazing symbolization of the yellow flowers, another thing is that all of the income from the flowers goes directly to the Forum of the Hostages and Missing families. So that's another thing.
It's a horrible situation to be in, isn't it? Because it's so tragic to see the funerals on the news day after day, isn't it? People burying their sons, their brothers, their loved ones. You know, so many people were murdered by the terrorists, but these people are, you know, they're still alive.
There's still hope.
There's still hope, but how do you know, people can't move on, as you say, like their families are frozen, they can't get on with their lives. You were telling me you're a student. I mean, do you feel like you can ever open a book and get back to your studies again? You know, life is frozen, isn't it?
It's exactly that. Life is frozen. For me, for 129 people's families, behind every single person of the 129, there's family and friends and relatives. There are so many people whose lives have completely stopped. Each person is an entire world, and life can't go on until they get back to us.
Tell us about your friends, about Ziv and Gali. What kind of guys are they?
Ziv and Gali are really, really funny. That's what everybody would say about them, and they have the kindest heart. I always told Ziv that he has the biggest heart I've ever seen. He's the nicest person that I know. He always puts himself before others. They both do. They take care of their disabled father. They're very, very loving towards their family and their nephews, and they love playing soccer. They love watching soccer. They love traveling together. They do everything together. They work together as well.
They're identical twins?
No.
No?
But there is so much similarity in between them, especially about their hobbies.
They like to hang out together?
Yeah, yes. And they have a lot of mutual friends, and they work together. And just in general, for me, it's really heartbreaking to think of how such good people, like, how does this happen to someone that good? How does it happen to anyone, and that they shouldn't be there, and that it's surreal for me to see them on a poster and not in real life.
Did they grow up in the kibbutz?
Yes, in Kfar Aza.
Wow, and Kfar Aza, of course, was one of the worst hit.
Yeah, specifically their neighborhood. The neighborhood of the young people was one who was struck really, really hard.
And it would mean so much to, of course, the families, but also the communities to have those boys back, wouldn't it?
Of course.
Wow. A yellow bouquet of flowers. I can't think of a nicer gesture, a nicer symbol. So if you want to show your support for the 129 hostages who are still being held in Gaza, and of course we are talking about a potential ceasefire, just reports, but it would be up to 40 hostages, and we know that the priority would be elderly people, women. I mean, it's horrible, but they would be quite far down the list, wouldn't they?
They would, but at least there would be a list. At least some people will get back to us, and that's a start.
Yeah, we need to get that number down. All right, well, Noa, hope that you'll be reunited with your friends very much. We're hoping and praying for that, as we are for all the hostages. Noa Reuveni, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and again, if you want to show your support for the 129 hostages still being held by terrorists in Gaza, you can take part in this initiative. Remind me of the name of the...
Zer Tikva.
Zer Tikva, it's hope.
Yes.
Yes, Zer Tikva.